Okay, guys, I'm back with my last TikTok about Alaska Daily, and I think the three episodes that's come out since it's come back in the winter time slash going into spring. I think we have two more episodes, and then the season will be finished. I'm not sure if it will be renewed, but it is a good sign that ABC is letting the entire season play out. They have been known to cancel shows mid-season, even though that typically happens for summer premieres, but you never know. And with how fickle television is nowadays, you just don't know. But anyway, shout out once again to Grace Dove, who plays Roz, and to Hilary Swank, who plays Eileen. These are really the lead actresses of this show, and I'm so glad that there's a Native woman that is leading this show as well. Because like I said, and for any white person that's part of a group where you are trying to help Black and brown people, where you're trying to look out for them, where you're looking for the murdered and the missing, remember that you must respect the groups and the tribes and the families that have been in this struggle before you ever knew anything about it. And I think that's what Roz's character really brings into it. She gets Eileen in line, like, we're going to respect the natives, but we're also going to help the missing and murdered as well. We're going to do what we can, and we're going to stick to the truth. Now, before I get into Toby again, I would like to say, piggybacking on the concerned citizen thing, we find on this week's episode that Gabriel is still experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, much like Eileen has been ever since she's been in either Iraq or Afghanistan overseas reporting. This brings the mental health of journalists, not only their lives, but their mental health and the trauma they go through in the search of the truth. And we're seeing Gabriel more so than Eileen, because Eileen's she's no rookie to the trauma and the post-traumatic stress disorder. She is no rookie to it. She's used to it. She's used to those panic attacks. But we see our poor Gabriel, he is going through it because he can't forget being held at gunpoint by concerned citizen. We see that the Daily Alaskan cast, they rally around him. He is part of their family. They're trying to support him. They're trying to help him get his anger and frustration out, because honestly, he was so young to be experiencing this. And because of Eileen, Gabriel doesn't quit the Daily Alaskan. He does come back, but he's moving at his own speed. Eileen tells him that he has a great future as a reporter and he's got to hang in here. These are the breaks. I really hope that Gabriel's character is able to heal and get through his trauma, and that it makes him an even smarter, wiser, and more empathetic reporter. All right, so now back to Toby. So now Roz and Eileen realize they are part of the rush to judgment to convict this young Native man. And as a matter of fact, I think Thursday's episode was definitely titled Rush to Judgment. So in those first 24 minutes, they're following where the government and the governor's office is leading them. And then their gut finally kicks in and they're like, look, not only did they find a suspect, but they found a Native guy. So Toby lets them know that he did get a final voicemail from Gloria before she died. He feels guilty for not picking up her last phone call. He still listens to the voicemail. He tells Eileen and Roz they can go to his uncle's house. His uncle has his cell phone, and they can replay the voicemail for themselves. So that puts Toby back in his house while Gloria is out there and she's still alive. So this voicemail is imperative. It's very imperative. But the issue with the rush to judgment, and when the judicial system decides that it wants to hone in on a young Black or brown brother, there's almost no truth that's going to let them stop. They're out for blood and they want blood. Now, let me tell you something about this judicial system. People say that justice exists. I say, if you say justice exists, you're probably white. Okay? The system was set up systematically, like everything else in this country, like capitalism and everything else, to hold Black and brown people back. It is not fair. So if you're affluent and white, the system is on your side. Hell, if you're poor and white, the system is still on your side. And that is just the truth of the matter. Okay, so when a suspect is taken in, even if there's DNA, we are finding that DNA is actually exonerating people. Okay, because maybe they'll find out there was another DNA at the scene and they didn't fully test whatever kits they had available. We're even seeing rape kits that have been untouched for like 20 years and not tested. especially for brown and black women. It's and our girls, it's just a mess, right? So here we go, we have the scapegoat, and we know in our hearts that there's more to this story. Somebody else killed Gloria Nanmak and assaulted her. And my gut feeling is that it's a white man, because who would the government try to protect for over 2 years? Not a native guy. That's for sure. And that's just a common sense thing. So now Roz and Eileen know they are on to something, and they've got to help Toby. I don't know if they're able to stop the wheels of justice. We will tune in to see. Now, once again, I will remind you that people do confess to things, especially when they are coerced. They don't know their rights. They do confess to things that they did not do. So let's just stop getting to that point and saying somebody confessed, okay? When you're being kept up for a full 24 hours, you're not able to eat, drink, or sleep, you'll probably confess to anything yourself, because that's just inhumane treatment. And that's just what it is. Now, once again, at the end of every episode of the show, they remind you that Native women and girls are disappearing and being murdered at a rate 5 times higher than any other women in this country. And I'm gonna let you know the statistics for black girls is up there with the natives. We are disappearing too. Okay. Basically, if you're not blonde and white, just like one of the episodes from in the fall for Alaska Daily showed us, they're not really going and looking for you, even if the budget is there. And that's the thing we notice in Alaska Daily. It's not that there's a budget issue. It's the fact that the governor's office has literally put less value on a Native girl's life than they do on a white girl's life. And this show has continued to remind you that. So, if for nothing else, I think Alaska Daily starts the conversation. I hope they don't stop the conversation, but it starts the conversation. And I really, really hope that you guys will continue to tune in and support the show, even for the next 2 or so episodes. I hope it's renewed. Like I said, I have no idea, but this is an important conversation. And shout out to all the natives, my native followers, to all the people that have written me and thanked me for covering this topic. Like I said, I am no expert in Native American law. I'm not. But the one thing that I can tell you is this is a conversation that we need to continuously have. Okay, this conversation does not stop. We need to look for our Native young women and girls, okay? We need to. They are just as important. They have families that love them. And that's the issue with how the government handles a lot of these cases. It's not like the money is not there. It's the fact that the value of Native young girls and women, it has been placed so low. Now, if you are a true white ally, like a true white ally, I will honestly say, what can you do when a Native young girl or woman goes missing? What you can do is put pressure on your governor's office, just like you do for the white girls that go missing. That's how you're an ally. You put pressure and you want the governor to get you answers. That's what you do in each of your states. And also find out ways to donate or help MMIW and other groups like it, and to not give up on our children, no matter their race, their color, their orientation. That's how you're a true ally. Is the same pressure you put when Becky and them disappear is the same pressure you put when people like Gloria Nanmak disappear. Shout out to the Sylvies of the world that are Native and have had their young girls murdered or assaulted, and there's been no justice for them. We don't talk enough about how important closure is. Yes, we know Gloria is not here anymore, but Sylvie deserves closure, and I don't even want to use justice, because she deserves more than justice like the American system describes it. Sylvie deserves so much more. It's been over 2 years and she still doesn't know what happened to her daughter. So shout out to all the Sylvies, all the black and brown Sylvies of the world. It's KJM. I know these TikToks have been long, but I think those who care will actually watch, will actually comment, will actually share. And you guys let me know how you feel about this, and let me know if you want me to review shows like this. I'm always watching. Of course, Hallmark is still my #1 channels, but these issues are important. All right, thank you guys for all your support, and I'm out. Bye. Be good to yourselves.